to the Czech. Hello and welcome to the Czech Prix. We are here at the Autodrome in Most under the best conditions before race 4. I'm standing here on the start and finish line. We had a really stunning race 2. Race 3, of course, this weekend, and after that there was a little bit of tension going on, and maybe a little bit of misunderstanding, but we do clear things up. So this is why I had a talk with Norbert Kisch. Like it is in Truck Family, we have to clear things up. I'm here with Norbert Kisch. After the race, you told me you think that the other teams, Iveco and Goodyear, might have a different qualification mode. Why did you say that?
Yeah, like I explained with the lap times in the qualifying and in the race, but I said it in a complimentary and a positive way, because I just said that it's not allowed by MAN, our manufacturer, so we don't have an engine mode, but it is allowed by the series, and this is what we love about truck racing, that you can develop your own engine, like Goodyear developed their own engine, which is great, and also Iveco is developing their race engine, so they can have as many engine mode, as they want, because it is allowed. So it's good for them. Unfortunately, with MAN, we don't have it. But this is why we love truck racing, because the development is so free that the whole thing you have to build yourself. And you can change things and you can develop things, and that's how you can get to the front of the field if you do development work and you find the right things to do. And yeah, I think this is great about truck racing. So sorry about the misunderstanding, but I meant it in a positive way, that it's a great thing in truck racing that you can have all these development things.
Because you were leading and you were really dominating the race, and so I thought, why are you thinking about that? Is this bothering you that MAN you can't do the changes?
Oh no, not bothering. It's just interesting to see, what's going on with the sessions and with the weekends as we go on, and this is what is in my head, that what we can do in qualifying, what are the lap times in qualifying, then what's happening in the race. But obviously in the race, if you are fighting with someone and defending positions and everything, like today they were fighting quite hard behind me and overtaking each other back and forth and everything, then obviously you are slowing each other down, and that's why I had so much gap in front of the other guys. But qualifying is very, very important. Your starting position is very, very important in truck racing, and that's why we are thinking more about qualifying. And we see that qualifying is always so close. So that's why I was thinking about it. And yeah, it would be nice from MAN if they would make it and have us an engine mode for qualifying for one lap with more performance. But I think probably they don't trust us that we wouldn't do the race in the same engine mode, for many laps, so they are, I think, trying to preserve their engines, because our engine is a rental engine. We don't build the engine ourselves, but we rent it from MAN. So obviously we have a very strict contract with MAN about how we can use the engine, and yeah, it's understandable. And I have to say, it's still a good performing engine. So, I don't say that we are on the back foot or that this engine is not good. I think this is one of the best in the field.
And because you repeated it on track, and of course during qualification you push the engine to the limits. This is why you might have a different mode over there. Speaking about the second race today, avoiding maybe Jochen Hahn because you had a slightly incident in the first chicane in this last race. You were talking about it. What is your strategy for this race?
Yeah, I try to avoid everyone, and stay out of trouble. Try to make a couple of overtakes and to think about the championship. I mean, the second race is important to survive and not to win, probably. Also, yesterday was a lesson there about this. So I try to remind myself. So yeah, and if you look at the championship, we are fighting with Sasha for the top spot. So yeah, in the second race, I will have to watch for Sasha mostly, and just try to stay close to him.
Thank you very much. We do got the best conditions here at the Autodrome in Most since 2014. We do have a new owner over here. This is why we recorded an interview earlier this day. Josef Sajek, CEO of Autodrome Most. I want to know, how important is truck racing for Most? Wie wichtig ist Truck Racing denn für Most?
Hallo, guten Tag. Truck Racing für uns ist sehr wichtig. Ja. Wir haben hier also eine Tradition ausgebaut. Es ist 29. Jahrgang, das wir dieses Jahr fahren. Und allgemein also für uns Teams und die Zuschauer für das Gebiet Stadt hier ist das sehr wichtig. Also.
This is the 29th episode of truck racing here at Mosford. That it is very important that truck racing championship will take place here, and of course for the region and everybody watching around. So what do you think, what is new this year here in Most? Was ist denn neu hier?
Dieses Jahr ist uns gelungen, eine neue Serie zu uns zu bringen, also Superbike, also Weltmeisterschaft von den Motorrädern. War sehr wichtig, interessant für uns, große Herausforderung, also sehr große Ziele haben wir vor uns und dann weiter, also wollen wir das modern hier halten und investieren, damit, wie gesagt, alles klappt und zu der allgemeinen Zufriedenheit kommt.
This year the World Cup of Superbike took place here in Most, and of course he's saying we're trying to modernize everything around here. I personally can assume that some facilities are new here. Also einiges, was wir hier sehen, ist natürlich neu. But what about the future then? Was werden Sie in Zukunft hier noch weiter verbessern?
Ja, wir müssen also die Strecke zu Ende bringen. Also uns fehlt noch 1 Kilometer von diesem Asphalt, das wir da bauen. Dann weitere Sicherungsvorschriften, also die sich weiter verschärfen. Also das müssen wir auch nachbauen und dann modernisieren vom hier Startturm. Und das ist zu viel. Das ist großes Gelände und viel Geld und viel Arbeit für uns, ja.
So there's a lot of work to do, he's saying. For example, the turf, as you might notice, there's a new turf on the circuit, but 1 kilometer is still missing. Then the modernization, for example, of a start-finish line and all the towers here. Lots to do, but we are looking forward to be here next year as well. Wir freuen uns natürlich drauf, das nächste Jahr sind wir dann bei 30.
Ja, wir sind bei 30 und das wird eine große Herausforderung für uns. Ich hoffe auch, dass dieses Covid-Problem, was wir dieses Jahr und letztes Jahr hatten, dass es weg ist, dass wir alle geimpft sind und alles offen ist und dass die Leute sich dann zu uns kommen und das Erlebnis davon haben. Wir versuchen auch, das Wochenende um eine Woche verschieben, damit wir nicht in Kollision mit anderen Sports und Veranstaltungen in der Tschechei sind. Also ich hoffe, dass nächstes Jahr also Top-Saison für uns ist und dass das nächstes Wochenende, also nächstes Rennen bei uns, also sich das Beste zeigt, was wir hier können.
So hopefully we're going to celebrate the 30th anniversary of truck racing here at the Autodrome in Most, hopefully without the COVID situation, but because due to the pandemic, still not a lot of fans allowed here, some around 3,000, 4,000 we have seen yesterday. And he said this will be challenging for us, but we are really looking forward to exceed the truck racing series, and maybe it will be postponed 1 or 2 weeks due to some other sports events in the Czech Republic. So there's a lot to do for Josef Seitzer. Thank you very much. Vielen Dank.
Dankeschön auch. Danke.
So from the future, we are back to the past where the trucks, and we are right back on time for that, taking their positions here right now on the grid from pole to second until the last position. And this is an exciting moment for everyone. And the teams are really tensioned, of course, and the drivers are back in their focus. And our commentators are also back, very focused, Ches Draycott and Joachim Eberts.
Yes, thank you very much, Christina. And we have very quickly arrived at the final race of the weekend for the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. I'm frantically doing all of my notes and all sorts ahead of this final race of the weekend. And of course, the main talking point was that reference from Norbert Kisch after the first race of the day, mentioning these different engine modes for other teams. Obviously, I, much like a number of other people, took it out of context from Norby, and profusely need to apologise for doing so. But at the end of the day, in this sport, you never know what people could be coming up with, or everybody likes to know that they've got an advantage over their opponents, and likes to think that everyone's trying their hardest. And it's very correct that he pointed out the great development that goes on in this championship. But very quickly back to Christina, who has an interview for us on the grid.
Yes, with Antonio Albacete, and thankfully he put away the safety net. Thank you very much. What are your thoughts about this last race of this weekend?
Well, I mean, we have a little bit of problems with the setup of the tire, you know, but now we are happy because yesterday we take a lot of points. So we are happy, and now we start in pole position. So just hope that I can keep this first place, you know, until the end. But it's gonna be difficult because everybody is going too fast. You know, the times are very close, so it's very difficult to overtake or to maintain the pace. So just hope not to make any mistakes, to keep the pace and try to win the race.
Why was it so difficult for everyone to find the right setup during this weekend?
I don't know. I think maybe it's because we have so many wet, dry, difficult conditions. You know, the track is the rubber is not going into the track, so you don't have much grip. So I think it was a little bit difficult to find a good setup this weekend.
Hopefully not aquaplaning this time, because it seems that there will be no rain, so the track will be faster. Is that good for you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's good for everybody, you know. I mean, the rain here is always a big problem. The surface is like ice when it's a lot of rain, you know. So, yeah, I mean, it's better to race like this in dry conditions. So also for the fans, you know, we will have at least, I hope we have a good race, and we can make a good show for the fans.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And obviously it is better for us as well.
Yes, it is. These trucks are always so entertaining out on track, and a very lively third race of the weekend, they go by so quickly, was also a fantastic watch for all, and we thoroughly hope you've enjoyed the coverage so far this weekend from Autodrom Most. But the grid, of course, being reversed when it comes to the top 8. So the result from the first race is basically half flipped on its head, which will put Antonio Albacete on pole position after he finished 8th in the previous race. Shane Breton will join him on the front row with Anthony Janiak and Teo Calve, who's been a real star in the Chrome category, the Goodyear Cup this weekend. Teo could potentially take another win in that category before the day is done, so keep an eye out for him. But this is Jochen Hahn, a man that will start 5th on the grid for this race, that has had a very challenging weekend. He was pole for the last race, but Norbert Kisch getting through at his very first opportunity. Around the outside on the way into the chicane, and then down the inside into the second part. Jochen complimented Norby on how fantastic he is as a driver, and said that sometimes you do have to get your elbows out and have these little moments as part of racing. But with the number 17 of Shane Breton is Christina.
Yes, of course, and the tension is high. The last race of the weekend, what do you expect?
A nice clean race, and we got to hope we get a good start. It's going to be about the start, because I think there's going to be a big fight behind us.
Maybe not behind us, but also for you as well. The first chicane is really tricky. We saw a lot of people touching each other. What are you trying to do? Avoid the contact, or maybe get through?
You need to try and avoid the contact, give everyone enough room, but it is extremely tight, 2 trucks around them 2 corners.
Thank you very much. So extremely tight. This would be really good for us seeing how we get started.
Yes, indeed. It is all about the start. It's where everybody is at their closest together, able to make moves on one another and potentially gain more than one position at a time. We saw a great start from Norbert Kisch in the reverse grid race yesterday, getting up to 5th place out of turn 2 after starting 8th on the grid. He's going to be 8th again for this one with Adam Lachko on his right-hand side. Basically, 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, and so on. Starting on the right-hand side here, the inside line for turn 1, and 2nd, 4th, 6th, 8th, 10th, and so on the outside, the left-hand side of the circuit, which is where we find Shane Breton. And the lap times were very intriguing in that first race of the day as well. The only driver to get into the 202s was Norbert Kisch, and the rest of them couldn't get into the 203s. But Christina has another interview lined up for us.
Teo Calve, very quick. You were very successful this weekend. Any plans for this last race?
Yeah, honestly, it was a very good weekend for me. Now it's the last race of the weekend. I start from the 4th position, so I think I can play something. A podium maybe, we will see in a few minutes.
Yes, we do. Thank you very much, Theo Covey. We will see you in a few minutes.
We will indeed. Everybody just about to get going now. Theo Calvé, like you say, very, very much in with a shout of a podium finish here. He's got Anthony Janiek, his countryman, just in front of him, then Shane Breton and the pole sitter Antonio Albacete. So he's going to have to put in a lot of hard work to get there, especially with a lot of very fast drivers behind him. He's got the likes of Jochen Hahn, Sascha Lenz, Adam Latchko and Norbert Kisch all lined up behind him. Intrigued to see what Steffi Helm can do in this race as well. She starts this race 9th on the grid. She's not had the easiest of weekends so far after having a fantastic final race of the weekend at the Hungaroring after a titanic battle with Adam Latchko, the two of them using every little piece of the track and some more to try and beat one another to the line. Steffi was taking none of it when Adam sent it down the inside, and she really showed her fighting spirit. It was incredibly entertaining. But now officials and team members just check final things before we get ready to go. And round 8 of the championship will be upon us. The 4th race of the weekend. I can't believe that 4 of them have already pretty much been and gone already. It's incredible, to be honest. But you see again the fantastic engineering of these machines. And even though they are such humongous monsters, a lot of the machinery and a lot of the components are very tightly packed in these trucks. They are so sturdy and so compact. They really are wonderful bits of engineering. But look at even the size of the framework. Look at the size of the engines. You can even climb on them if you want to. Hopefully Christina's not climbing on any of the engines, though. Have you got an interview for us?
Yes, we're talking to Leah College right now. Your team chef said you're really improving. You had a lot of fast laps during this weekend. So what do you personally think about your truck racing?
Well, yeah, during the weekend I was improving, so I'm quite happy about that. Yesterday was very difficult in the rain, so it wasn't so fun, but it was good training. But I'm very happy that today it's dry.
We saw you had a chat with the FIA vice president. Any positive words he gave to you?
Yeah, a lot of positive words. Yeah, that's about it. Cool experience.
That's good, and the rest is secret, no, of course. How is it for you as a young driver to get all the new experience? What is that you want to improve personally in this track?
Well, the main thing, of course, is just to always get more motor experience and then at some point be in the front of the grid and hopefully soon, with a lot of training, win races. So, yeah, that's it.
I know you do a lot of training. If you like to follow her on Instagram, for example, you can see a lot of training. Good luck for you, Aliyah College.
Aliyah, like a real upcoming star of truck racing, a very young driver, but a very, very entertaining one at that. And she also did a fantastic interview with Will Buxton not too long ago, one of my very favourite journalists in motorsport. And you'll be able to see that on the Goodyear Racing social media. And I believe it was also on Motorsport TV, if you would like to have a look at that as well. But we're just about ready to go here at Autodrom Most. It's almost a shame that the racing is nearly over for the weekend, but the fans have stayed with us throughout, and we are so grateful for it. As Christina mentioned earlier, we don't have a sort of unlimited number of fans with us this weekend, but we certainly have them in their thousands, and it's great to have. It is another step back towards normality. And one final interview, I believe, Jamie Anderson is with Christina now.
Yes, and for me as a reporter, it's important not to forget that we should enter the scene from the different angle because it's Jamie Anderson sitting here without the helmet. You're really optimistic and cool right now before the last race, or is the tension high?
No, I think for us the tension is fine. It's a new truck, it's a different season. We've not had a lot of seat time with it. So at the minute we're still learning, so everything for us is good, and like in the last race we showed good pace. You know, we do tend to struggle in the qualifying, but it puts us on the back foot, and that's the way it is. You know, at the minute we're still struggling to find the time that we need to.
And a lot of people told me that they got problems finding the right setup for these conditions. What about you?
Yeah, it's been very challenging, you know, a new truck, not knowing how it handles. Everything is different, the wrong side of the cab, you know, so every single bit has been a challenge, including looking at the track from a different angle. I think, but as a general, you know, we're working alongside Sasha in Team Lauer Power, and it's working good at the minute, and we're going in the right stages, and we've just got to be patient.
On which position would you like to end the race?
Well, I'd like to win the Grammar Cup, but we're a far way away from the front, and every time in turn one we seem to get contact, you know, but we're not crying, we're still plugging on, and we'll still try and fight to go back like we did in the last race. But who knows, anything on the podium will do for us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And of course we're not crying, we're seeing happy faces because we're here at truck racing. And is it really good, Chaz?
Yeah, it's fantastic. You know, we keep talking about the whole one truck family and how enjoyable it is to be a part of it. But even remotely for me here back in the UK, I'm thoroughly loving the atmosphere that all of these drivers give off. Everybody has such a level-headed view on things as well. I mean, the chat that Christina had with Jochen Hahn earlier, he's just be like Jochen. He's got such a great outlook on everything. He's so level-headed. He knows that you don't have to attack every single corner. He knows that you don't have to go for every single position. He knows how to win championships with consistent points. And he also knows how to play the politics of it very well as well, and not in a way that twists any words. International Truck of the Year 2019, the Ford F-Max is out on circuit, doing the final inspection that we see before every single race. A bit of info on the F-Max. It was designed and tested by over 500 Ford engineers over a 5-year period, and these tests were carried out in 11 countries on 4 continents using over 200 prototype units, including over 15,000 hours of lab testing and over 5 million kilometres of road testing, all of which came to the fact that they got the International Truck of the Year 2019. The Ford F-Max, an absolute blue beauty out there. Not to be confused, as I always say, with our pace truck, the Iveco S-Way, which will lead our field around in a few moments. A real shame that none of these sort of Ford F-Maxes are represented in the racing trucks at this point, but fingers crossed in the future we will get more and more models of truck inside the actual racing field itself. It's always interesting in any form of motorsport when you have different manufacturers going up against each other, and that's without mentioning as well, of course, the whole sort of front engine, sort of mid-engine layouts that you get. We've got the Freightliners with their engines up front, the long nose on those trucks, and a more sort of traditional shape being shared, of course, with things like your Volvo Aerodynes, which we do not see in this championship. The MANs, the Ivecos, and the Scania of Stefan Farsen, all having the entire cab over the very front axle of the truck with the engine sat behind them and sort of slung underneath. So a big challenge for the cooling as well. And the engineers have to work very hard on making sure that when they develop these racing trucks, they have a very strong chassis to work from with a lot of space able to use up for the cooling of these engines to keep them running at their optimum temperatures. 1.5 minutes to go then, and we'll be underway for round 8 of the championship and the final race of the weekend here at Autodrom Most. It's good to see Luke Garrett back out there as well in the foreground. The white number 86 truck broke down in the first race of the day with just 1 lap to go. Looked like he wasn't able to get it in gear, looked like they lost drive. The engine was still running and the engine revs were still spiking, but unfortunately the truck was not going anywhere at all. The 1 minute board is held up, and very soon that beautiful Iveco S-Way will lead us away. Antonio Alberthetti will start on pole position, and I think he needs this, to be honest, as Antonio. He's not had the easiest of rides this weekend. He came into this round of the championship in 4th place, but I think he needs a little bit more to make sure that he stays in touch with the likes of Norbert Kish, Adam Lachko, and of course Sascha Lenz. Sascha, importantly, starting right in front of Norbert on the left-hand side of the grid. You can see the black truck with the very fluorescent green sections on it, right in front of the big red truck of Norbert Kish. And that is very important for him as they will lead them away. And in front of them guys on the left-hand side of the grid, you've got Teo Calve, who's staring at the back of Shane Breton's purple Apollo branded machine. And that is the lead fight for the Goodyear Cup as well. Not just in terms of those two drivers on track, but actually in the championship as well. 2 points between them going into this. Theo Calvé 2 points ahead of Shane Breton, so maybe Shane can try and bring that back. The points in that championship are not determined on their overall position in the race. They're determined by their positions amongst all of the Chrome-rated drivers. There's Titan and Chrome. Titan being basically the Pro class, Chrome being the Am class as such, for drivers that have not sort of finished in the higher reaches of the championship before or got overall podiums and wins and all sorts. Well, the field is led away then with the Iveco S-Way, who, to be fair, whoever's driving that Iveco S-Way needs a raise, because they are driving it so well and so aggressively around the circuit, really showing the manoeuvrability of the road-going version of that truck. Earlier on in the season, we got showed around the interior of that specific vehicle, and it is absolutely beautiful. The amount of work and time that goes into making the cabs in these trucks, such a wonderful place to be. It's a real art form. Maybe not so pretty inside the race trucks, but they're more function over form. But of course, with the long journeys and of course the hours that drivers do within these sorts of trucks on our public roads, you need a very nice cab to be in. Antonio Albacete then starts on pole position alongside Shane Breton. Then we have Anthony Janiak and Theo Calvé. Jochen Hahn starts alongside Sasha Lenz on row 3. Row 4 is Adam Lachko and Norbert Kish, with Steffi Halm alongside Lucas Hahn rounding out your top 10. In 11th position, it's Andrei Kurzim and Jamie Anderson on row 6. Alia Koloc is row 7 alongside Stefan Farsen, with Heinrich Clemens Hecker starting alongside Luke Garrett on row 8. And at the back of the grid, hopefully, after having a lot of damage on his truck earlier on, we will have René Reiner at the back of the field. I'm waiting to see him. Yes, he is there. So we have our full complement of 17 drivers for the final race of the weekend. We've had nobody drop off the back of the pack before the weekend is done. That's great to see. Fantastic work by René Reiner's team to get his truck back out. But now is the calm before the storm. And I've been told that the pace truck driver is called Frank. So fair play to you, Frank. I don't have his surname yet, unfortunately, but thank you to Barbara, who is providing me with all the info in the background once again. She's an absolute star that keeps me updated via WhatsApp as we go through our race weekends. And hopefully the brilliant information that she's giving me is being relayed to everybody watching and listening in a good enough fashion. But round turn 21 then at Autodrom Most we go. And round 8 of the 2021 FIA European Truck Racing Championship will be underway now. Plumes of smoke and all sorts get kicked up straight away. Everybody trying to fan out to find track position. Let's see where the championship protagonists will end up. Has Shane Breton taken the race lead overall, though? He's round the outside of Antonio Albacete into turn 1. Sasha Lenz stays alongside Theo Calvé as well. Is there contact? You bet there is. That penalty marker gets absolutely belted out wide. And Albacete holds on to the lead, though, and Shane Breton's trying to push Theo Calvé off to the right-hand side. He says, no, you don't. No, you do not. Sasha Lenz is now going to try and push Breton and then get through past Calvé himself. Norbert Kish is still in 8th position when they hit the timing beam. Sasha Lenz up into 3rd place then, and now Janiak's trying to get past Calvé as well. He's got Lachko, Hahn, Kish, and then Lucas Hahn behind him. And look at that, Lachko down the inside of Janiak now. Norbert Kish is watching his championship rival Sasha Lenz drive off and chase after the leading duo. He needs to get past Janiak as quickly as he can. He's ahead of Jochen Hahn. Lucas Hahn's got bits of bodywork hanging off his truck. René Reiner's had a fantastic start as well from the back of the grid. He's up to 14th place already. But here is 2nd place, Shane Breton. Right behind Antonio Albacete and right ahead of Sasha Lenz. Good start by Sasha from 6th on the grid up to 3rd. Using any early advantage he can find. Kish is now 7th. Jochen Hahn behind. We've got the two Goodyear Racing trucks just trying to make their way up the order. Looks like Kish has actually got ahead of Janiak. And as they head into the final couple of corners, I believe he's opened up the gap to try and go after the Big Era Racing duo as well. Lachko now ahead of Calve. Calve says, look, I'll try and hold off this pesky Hungarian behind us. And you go. This is Sasha Lenz then, third overall at the moment. Are they spots of rain on the front of the windscreen that we have here? Or is that potentially just from where the truck was washed before the race? They do religiously wash these trucks so often. We have a lot of onboard cameras between the races while the broadcasts aren't live, and a lot of the time it just looks like the camera's being jet washed. The whole field makes their way through then. One lap in the books. Out of the chicane they go. Albacete holding on very well. Lachko doing a good job, and it looks as Kish has already got past Calve. He's already back in front. It's incredible the resurgence that Norbert Kish has in these secondary races, the reverse grid races of each day. Seems like nothing will slow him down at all. Out of the hairpin they go then. Breton, the highest placed Chrome class driver as well by a long shot here. The next one down is Calve, who is into 6th position, or down to 6th position I should say, just ahead of Janiak. Then the two Hahns. Jochen Hahn in 8th place at the moment, and his son Lucas Hahn doing a great job on his first weekend back in the championship. 9th position ahead of Andrei Kurzim. Steffi Helms unfortunately dropped down to 14th behind René Reiner now. And Luke Garrett is at the bottom of the standings. And is that Hahn going slowly? Is that Jochen Hahn? Jochen Hahn was really slow out of turn 15. I think he might have an issue. There goes Lucas Hahn. Yeah, where's Jochen? He's not come through the picture yet. And there he is. Reigning champion. Looked like he was going to turn his day around, but unfortunately he's gone to pot. And something in his truck has failed him. He's indicating to the right. Oh, it's an absolute nightmare for Jochen Hahn. He needs to score consistent points to stay with the likes of Kish, Lenz and Lachko in the championship. Big sideways moment there by Luke Garrett. Shows you that these things could just be as lively as any other sort of racing machine that you see. Got a black and white flag for truck number 33. That's Jamie Anderson. Jamie said that he was going to push as hard as he can, and he wasn't joking. So Albacete once again ahead of Breton, Lenz, Lachko. Right onto the back of him. It's almost like Sasha Lenz has got a tow hook on the back of that thing. And there is the Iveco of Jochen Hahn, and he knows something is up. He's going straight into the pit lane, or straight into the paddock, I should say. It's terrible news, the worst way to end your weekend. The first truck to get a non-finish. Now Sasha Lenz is starting to pile the pressure on Shane Breton here. Shane doesn't want to get caught up in too much of a fight. He needs to just think about the Goodyear Cup here for the chrome-rated drivers, because the Freightliner 4 trucks back is Teo Calve. He is his next challenger. We've got windscreen wiper on Sasha Lenz's truck. I'm not sure whether he's done that by mistake or just flicked it while he's steering profusely through each corner. But potentially spots of rain. It doesn't look too sunny either, does it? So you never know. There could still be some weather changes on the horizon. Antonio Albacete continues to lead, though, through turn 18. Kish now on to the back of Lachko. Stefan Farsen very sideways, smacking the penalty markers there on the outside of the corner. And if he smacked them, Heinrich Clemens-Hecker absolutely headbutted him. But he's got Alia Kolok and Luke Garrett right behind. Here is Stefan Farsen, who I mentioned a moment ago. You can see how smooth they need to be in these machines. They're all about momentum. They may have a lot of power, but don't forget how much they weigh. Oh, Jochen Hahn's steering is broken. That's absolutely gutting for Jochen. And fair play to him for at least pulling it over, because while a lot of drivers will stay out there and say, oh, it's all right, I've got this, you know, I can compensate for any sort of steering issues, he knows that it's probably not safe, just in case it gets worse or breaks even more, so he's brought it in. There is Stefan Farsen. The incredibly boxy Scania. I've not really noticed how square that truck is before. I know you could say a lot of them are very square, but they all have sort of rounded off corners and nice smooth bits, but that Scania is incredibly square, isn't it? Well, his drive is certainly not square at the moment. Stefan Farsen doing a good job at holding on ahead of Jamie Anderson. He's trying everything he can. But the gap between the top three is less than a second at the moment. Now look at the run that Anderson's got there. He's going to go down through turn 12. Is he going to look down the inside for turn 13? No, he's not yet. He's just focusing on his own lines here. He's not pushing too hard. He's doing everything he needs to do. A lot of the battle in motorsport is just piling the pressure on, just making sure that you fill your opponent's mirrors as often as you can. And Shane Breton has not dropped off the back of Antonio Albacete here. He's going for an overall win. If this continues, we're on lap 4 out of 11, so we're not even at the halfway point yet. But it's a great chase for the top 5, covered by less than 2 seconds. That's Albacete from Breton, Lenz, Lachko and Kiss. And here's the battle between Anderson and Fast, continuing lap after lap. Anderson all over the back of him now, literally pushing him through the last corner. Moves over to the right-hand side. There is a bit of an overlap. There's also a black and white flag for truck 17. That's Shane Breton. That could be for track limits. And never mind track limits. His problem right now is that Sasha Lenz has had him off at the chicane. Breton down to 3rd, Lenz up to 2nd. That's good for Lenz's championship fight, because that man, Norbert Kirch, is not making progress now. He's got up to Adam Lachko. Norbert's great at the starts, but he didn't gain as many places as he expected this time round. Oh, Steffi Halm has lost power, apparently. So Steffi is out of the race as well. I was saying earlier, I hope that she has a better race to end her weekend, but no such luck, I'm afraid. Now, Shane Breton has 2 penalties for... Oh, sorry, 2 penalties, 2 warnings for these penalty markers, the track limits already. So he needs to be very, very careful. Flying down towards turn 15 they go. Look at them just floating their way around turn 16. And then up through 18 and 19. You can just hear again, tyres absolutely screaming. Just checking the times at the moment, see what laps everybody's doing. They're all in the sort of 204s and 205s at the minute, as Anderson and Stefan Farsen now side by side. Anderson on the right, René Reiner wants to go with him as well. You can hear the fans going bonkers, as I think Adam Lachko is doing a great job of holding off Norbert Kish. There's Anderson down the inside of Fast, but Fast is going to be on the inside for the second part of the chicane. Is there contact? Yep, plenty of it. Penalty marker actually survives this time. But where's René Reiner? René Reiner's on the left-hand side. Almost got alongside Stefan Farsen. And has Anderson got it? Just about. Even with trucks this big, there's only millimetres between them. Great racing. Jamie Anderson goes through. Stefan Farsen pretty much ran wide into the side of him, didn't he? But awesome to watch all the same. We go back on board with Stefan Farsen now, trying to chase down Jamie. These two both in the chrome category, but not fighting for a podium position in that class. Jochen Hahn is currently third, Theo Calvé second, Shane Breton leading that category, and Sascha Lenz has actually taken the race lead. I've only just noticed that, but Sascha Lenz has taken the race lead from Antonio Albacete. And there is the moment between Stefan Farsen and Jamie Anderson. You can see as the wheel hits the bodywork there, it flaps around. Those headlights are just stickers. Luke Garrett has 2 warnings for the penalties at the moment. But still, the field making its way round without incident. But now this, just going through the bottom of our shot there, was the back end of the top 5. Sascha Lenz has a good gap over the rest of the field now. Let's see if that goes up at all, or if it stays. It's 1.5 seconds actually, Sascha Lenz. He's got 1 race win to his name this season, 3 podium finishes. Actually, that'll be 4 podium finishes after the previous race. But Albacete still holding on ahead of Breton. So basically, Sascha Lenz has made his way through this pack and left everybody else in the same order. And there he goes. Awesome stuff so far by Sascha. He's fed up of finishing on the podium behind Norbert Kish. Now, Norbert not able to make as many moves at this point as we've seen him do in earlier races, but look at the pace of Sascha through there. Fantastic to watch him chuck that truck one way then the other, the SL Truck Sport Machine. Then it's the Spaniard Antonio Albacete, and then the Brit Shane Breton. Not Shane Britton. And Adam Lachko, it must be said, is doing a good job at holding off Norbert Kish for now. Doesn't look like Norbert's putting in too much of an attack, but still, it's got to be a very pressurising environment to have easily the fastest man in the series at the moment, or at least one of the most dominant men in the series, right behind you. Through turn 16 then goes Sascha. And then behind them, there's a really tasty quartet. There they are, Albacete, Breton, Lachko, Kish. Kish even kicking the back end out through turn 18, and it's barely even a corner. Really smashing the power down with his right foot. Kurzim's up to 9th. Anderson's now inside the top 10, ahead of Fass and Reiner. And then Heinrich Clemens Hecker is up to 13th place. Luke Garrett, the last of those that's still running at the moment. 6 laps completed now. 7 laps completed, apologies. On to lap 8 out of 11. 4 laps to go. And 4 laps to complete the weekend here at Autodrom Most. So it's Albacete in the team based in the UK against the UK-based driver, Shane Breton. Shane will close the gap, or even, I think, maybe equal Theo Calvé in the Goodyear Cup if he stays where he is at the moment. Lachko just off the back of this. He's not able to catch these guys, but he's also able to stay ahead of Kish at the moment. He's got enough pace to do that. Kish tries to get a cutback on him, but as we saw yesterday, that Freightliner out the corners is really, really pokey. Flying back down to turn 15. That's my favourite camera angle of the weekend for sure. There is a slight left kink there at turn 14, which really exaggerates the speed that they do, but it is awesome to watch all the same. Now, did Kish get his nose down the inside? No, he did not. Albacete and Breton just holding position at the moment. Both of them will be really happy to finish where they are. Shane, not sure if he hit that marker there or the air just blew it over. A lot of the trucks that are going through are sort of blowing it over, so I think he got away with that. Jamie Anderson just about avoids it on the exit. Still, Lachko able to hold on. These things are so momentum dependent that you can't really chuck it on a different line. I say chuck it. Norbert Kish throws the truck into the final corner, gets slightly sideways, pulls over to the right-hand side near the pit wall. On to lap 9. This lap and 2 more for Sascha Lenz. Still race leader at the moment. But what is happening behind? Are we going to see Norbert Kish make his way through? No, doesn't look like it yet. Sascha Lenz is doing a smashing job, though, in the MAN. Then it's Albacete, also in an MAN. Then Shane Breton, also in an MAN. Then we've got another Freightliner, and then an MAN. The first non-Freightliner or MAN truck is actually Lucas Hahn in 8th position. Big lock up there on the way into the left-hander at turn 6. But the MAN's doing a fantastic job around here. As Lachko goes in a little bit deep. Maybe caught out by Shane Breton going slower than expected. And now suddenly Lachko has gone from defending to attacking in just a couple of corners. Maybe Shane's overcooked the brakes or just overdone it on the tyres for a few corners. And he's struggling to get them back down to a better temperature. But these three glued together right now. This is just behind them, Janiak and the number 22, Lucas Hahn. Having a great race so far is Lucas Hahn. Started 10th on the grid, up to 8th position. Any places gained are good positions. And I'm sure he'll be really happy with this. And of course, you have to think that Jochen Hahn, his father, will be very happy as well. A reminder there that all of these race trucks powered by 100% renewable HVO diesel. That's why you don't get a load of black smoke flying out the side of them. You may see the odd puff of it here and there, but there is a black smoke rule in the championship to make sure that it is as good to the environment as we can possibly be while still enjoying the racing and the fantastic sounds and power of these trucks. Alia Kolok has had her second warning for penalty markers, so she needs to be careful now as to not incur a penalty. And there is Luke Garrett at the back of the field, still chasing everybody in front. At the top of the shot, Albacete still leads Breton. Kurzim is under pressure now from Jamie Anderson. Jamie's going really well here, actually, making some solid progress. He's gone from 12th to 10th so far. And there's a bit of a train forming now in front of Luke Garrett, as you see there, as they power their way through turn 4. Or at least a little tiny kink at turn 3. It does slightly go right and then left again there. And apparently, according to the official track maps, it does count as 2 corners. But there's your race leader, Sascha Lenz. Once again through turn 14. Hard onto the brakes. Floats it underneath the bridge into turn 15. He'll have one more lap to go after this one. Albacete still second, Breton third, then Lachko, then Kish. Then there's a good few seconds back to Teo Calve. He looks quite safe at the moment for second in the Chrome category. Obviously the Goodyear Cup for those drivers involved in that. This could be a bit of a turning point for the championship, going the other way now all of a sudden. While Norbert Kish has been winning races this weekend, Sascha Lenz has not finished any lower than, as he checks his results. Actually, Sascha Lenz finished 7th in an earlier race, but he's had a 2nd and a 3rd as well. While Norbert Kish has been 1st and 2nd in each of the races this weekend. So while Norbert has reined him in the championship and at least got some sort of an advantage, Sascha Lenz could overturn that advantage in this race. On to the final lap we go then. The last lap of the weekend here at Autodrom Most in the Czech Republic for the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And what can Norbert do? Has he got anything in his locker? Has he been saving his tyres for this final lap? What about Lucas Hahn? Can he get past Janiak? Anderson has got past Kurzim. Anderson up into 9th position now, so a really good drive by Jamie. Maybe that chat with Christina before the race inspired him. But like he said, he's on the opposite side of the cab to most of the others. And he has to look at everything slightly differently when he comes to positioning his truck on the circuit and preparing. It's a new truck, so they're not quite up to speed with it yet, but you could fool me. He's doing a great job. Really good job. So the lead gap, 6.8 seconds, nearly 6.9 from Lenz to Albacete. Good to see Antonio going well. He did start on pole, so he's only dropped one position from where he started. And there he is. There is the Spaniard in the T-Sport Benau truck, the MAN. Seems to be in a bit of no man's land at the moment. He's got a bit of a gap of about 1.4 seconds back to Shane Breton. He's not really under pressure from Adam Lachko, but he's under pressure from Norbert Kish. But with a couple of corners to go, Sascha Lenz has, well, he's done what Norbert did in the first race of the day, but not quite to the same extent. Really driven off up the road. And it looks like he's going to take a convincing victory from 6th on the grid. Into the final corner then. Tyres still screaming for mercy. And to win round 8 of the FIA European Truck Racing Championship, Sascha Lenz takes his 2nd win of the season. Sounds the horn in delight as well. Brilliant to watch. Antonio Albacete gets 2nd place. Very well done to Antonio. He needed those points. Shane Breton gets an overall podium in 3rd, ahead of Adam Lachko and Norbert Kish. Amazing racing though, and here comes the drifting from Sascha Lenz. Brilliant, brilliant fun. Look at that. It's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? Oh, I love it. Absolutely love truck racing, but brilliant stuff. Really brilliant stuff by Sascha Lenz. He kept his head there and just opened that gap up lap after lap away from the field, and nobody could catch him by the time they got to the flag. Alia Kolok finished ahead of Heinrich Clemens Hecker at the end of the race as well, for 14th position. Heinrich Clemens finishing in 15th. Luke Garrett ended up moving up to 13th place. And Lucas Hahn as well, 8th position. A really good first weekend for Lucas, consistently improving race after race. Finishes 3rd in the Chrome category. Theo Calve takes 2nd place in the Goodyear Cup, with Shane Breton finishing ahead. Here is Heinrich Clemens Hecker. I'm not sure if something happened to him on that last lap, actually. He seems to have lost a lot of pace. The truck looks fine in terms of the pace it's running at now, but maybe just an issue onto that final lap. But here's our last finisher. Steffi Halm and Jochen Hahn, unfortunately, not finishing. This is Stefan Farsen, who finished in 11th, following Jamie Anderson after that great drive from Jamie. More drifting going on. These drivers, oh so entertaining as always. And thanks again to our marshals out here in the Czech Republic, doing a great job at keeping all of the events, not just the truck racing, but the support categories as well, going to a brilliant standard and ahead of schedule in some respects as well. Look at that big drift up there by Adam Lachko. This is his home race, let's not forget. So he's going to be loving that. More drifting by Sascha Lenz as well. Antonio Albacete joining him in doing so. And look at that by Lachko. Fantastic stuff. Really smoking the rear tyres up. That Freightliner looked amazing sideways there. Round turn 17. You can't beat that. I've seen a lot of cars and different vehicles drifting before, but I don't think I've seen quite a comprehensive drift like that one in a 5-ton truck. Hats off to Adam Lachko, ever the showman. And it looks like Clemens had a spin, apparently, according to Barbara, who again I must thank for all of the fantastic information she provides me as these races and these race weekends go on. When I am not there in person, it is great to have so many eyes and ears in the paddock helping us bring you, our viewers, as much information as possible. There's Shane Breton, though. He'll be over the moon with that, won't he? 3rd place overall. Get in. What a brilliant drive by Shane. The British driver proving that he may be in the chrome category, but just because you've got something different written on paper doesn't mean that you're any slower than some of the very best, not just in this series, but in all of Europe. And a round of applause for your race winner, Sascha Lenz. And no Norbert Kish on the podium, which is going to be a strange thing to see. I think other than potentially this race and the very first one this season, this is the first time Norbert Kish hasn't been on the podium. Unless I'm very much mistaken, which I probably am at the end of the day. I'm a commentator. It's our job to get things wrong every once in a while, isn't it? Brilliant stuff, though, from Sascha Lenz. The fluorescent yellow crash helmet. Oh, so potent. And a woohoo as well. Great drive. Really great drive by Sascha Lenz. Consistent all the way through. And the thing is, when you're at the front of a field like this, it's so easy to overdo it and try and push too hard to open up the gap and end up losing out in the long run. And he did everything right and was long gone by the time the others had finished. There's Stefan Farsen, Jamie Anderson, Anthony Janiak making their way back to the paddock before everybody gets ready to pack down for the night and head back to their respective bases now that the weekend is over. As mentioned throughout the broadcast, though, the next race meeting will be at Zolder on the 11th and 12th of September. So you've only got a couple of weeks to wait for that one. And then we'll be back with you at Le Mans on the Bugatti circuit on the 25th and 26th of September. Jarama in Spain at the start of October. And then 2 weeks later at Misano for the season finale. So from this point onwards, it's looking like a very packed schedule. And it's going to be a lot of fun indeed. But Christina is down there in the paddock with one of our drivers from the race.
Yes, and those interviews are lots of fun as well. Sascha Lenz, congratulations. You celebrated with all your team. What do you say about the race you won?
Ja, er hat einen sehr, sehr guten Start gehabt. Konnte direkt 1-2 Plätze gut machen am Start. Ja, dann habe ich lange mit dem Chain zu kämpfen gehabt, bis ich einen kleinen Fehler gemacht habe auf Eingangsschartenziel. Dann konnte ich direkt ausnutzen, konnte neben ihm fahren. Klar, und unten ist dann die erste rechts, dann bin ich klar im Vorteil, konnten dann so überholen.
Das würde ich mal übersetzen, sonst vergesse ich es, was du alles gesagt hast. So I tried to explain it before forgetting it, because it was really interesting what you told us right now. So that you saw that Shane was doing a little mistake until the start and finish line, and then you knew he could overtake because there was this right turn, and there he saw his chance to overtake Shane. Also das war ein richtig guter Fight zwischen euch.
Ja, und dann habe ich gedacht, jetzt muss ich mich beeilen, vielleicht kann ich schon Antonio kriegen. Gestern hat er keinen Fehler gemacht, heute hat er einen gemacht. Ich konnte auch wieder neben ihn fahren, hier auf Schattenziel. Und haben dann unten quasi auf der Bremse dann überholt bekommen. Da bin natürlich mega happy, auch für das Team. Die haben einen super Job gemacht und ich bin hellauf begeistert. Das ist Wahnsinn.
And then he knew I should hurry up because there's Antonio Albasetti, and then the same situation on start-finish line. He just was at side, and then Antonio Albasetti had a little mistake, and so it was his turn as well. And so he was very thankful for the team helping him out through all this weekend. We talked to his mother, as you might remember, and I had a chat with her, and she was really, really excited about the race weekend. Ich habe mit deiner Mutter ein Interview machen können und sie war auch total aufgeregt vor diesem Wochenende. Wie empfindest du das jetzt, mit deiner Familie zusammen zu feiern?
Ja, ist natürlich, ich feiere nicht nur mit meiner Familie, sondern mit dem kompletten Team. Wir haben einen hervorragenden Job, das ganze Wochenende hier gemacht. Wir waren die ganze Zeit super schnell gewesen. Ich hatte es heute Morgen verkackt in der Superpole. Da war mehr drin gewesen, aber nichtsdestotrotz, wir haben ein gutes Rennen gemacht und ich bin im Hell-Off, ich bin mehr als zufrieden und freue mich natürlich für das Team und für unsere Sponsoren. Ne?
He was not celebrating just with his family, but all with the whole team, of course. And there he said he messed it up on the Superpole this morning, but then he fought his way back into the podium as well. And there's the congratulations of Jochen Hahn, who unfortunately could not finish his race, and Diana Hahn as well. And now it's time to celebrate. Let's take a look at the overall, because with 81 points, mit 81 Punkten bist du jetzt Zweiter in the whole classification. He's second right now.
Ja, aber was soll ich sagen? Wir sind zufrieden, auch wenn wir Zweiter sind. Natürlich fährt man gerne nach Hause als Tabellenführer. Aber wir sind Zweiter, wir können noch ein bisschen an uns arbeiten. Ich muss ein bisschen mehr an mir arbeiten und dann werden wir in 14 Tagen in Zolder uns wiedersehen und dann sind die Karten neu gemischt.
Alles klar, danke. Off to Podium. So let's have a quick translation. Yes, he said, yes, of course, it's more easy to be the lead of the pack, but right now finishing this weekend on second position for him is fine. And he says that they'll have lots to do, a lot of things to do, and there's, of course, always time to learn anything new. I think we never stop learning, do we, Chas?
No, not at all. Every single day is a school day, and especially in motorsport as well. There's always different ways of doing things and different innovations coming through, and new drivers, new talent, and fantastic personnel making their way up through the ranks. Here is your result then for the fourth and final race of the weekend here at Most, round 8 of the championship. Sascha Lenz takes the win from Antonio Albacete ahead of Shane Breton and Adam Lachko. Norbert Kish rounds out the top 5 ahead of Teo Calve and Anthony Janiak. Those two quite inseparable this weekend, to be honest. Lucas Hahn finishes in 8th place. I'm sure his father and himself will be very pleased with that one. Jamie Anderson, a great drive up to 9th ahead of Andrei Kurzim, who had a very challenging weekend despite taking the win yesterday afternoon. Stefan Farsen finishes 11th ahead of René Reiner. Luke Garrett is 13th with Alia Kolok 14th and Heinrich Clemens Hecker in 15th. Steffi Halm and Jochen Hahn, unfortunately, non-finishers in the final race of the weekend. But the sun is setting here in the Czech Republic, but that doesn't mean that the action is over. We're going to have our podium presentation in just a moment when the drivers make their way up for the final spraying of the champagne. And there's no Norbert Kish on the podium to get up to his shenanigans that we saw after race 3 of the weekend earlier. It was certainly a lot of fun as he decided that Sascha Lenz and, of course, his other podium finisher was going to get a good splashing of the champagne, which is Adam Lachko. There's Shane Breton for 3rd place. Antonio Albacete takes 2nd position. Both of these guys based in the UK. And the race winner, number 30, Sascha Lenz, his 2nd race win of the season, and a fantastic performance all the way through. Love the pink wellies. And now they will present the trophies before the national anthem. And a very well done to Shane Breton. Not just taking a win in the Goodyear Cup, but an overall 3rd place. A brilliant result for him and the team. Antonio Albacete will be very, very happy with 2nd place. Some good championship points for him. And very importantly, Sascha Lenz, good championship points for him to try and keep the fight going against what looks like an unstoppable Norbert Kish this season. And now we'll have the national anthem for Sascha Lenz. And now they will pose for the pictures with their Goodyear caps and then their own caps, if they have them. And then, of course, it'll be time for champagne, the final podium of the weekend for these guys, or at least for 2 of them. Shane Breton will be back with them very shortly after taking the win in the Goodyear Cup. Antonio Albacete saying, well, I don't need to change mine. And here we go then. Look at that. Sascha Lenz does not want to be caught napping. He knows exactly what happens when you're the last one to open the champagne bottle. I'll keep an eye on Shane Breton here. Oh, they all get there just about the same time. Straight in the face for Sascha Lenz. And Antonio Albacete hasn't even popped the cork yet. Is he going to get them back? Oh, he's just about. He's trying. Fantastic stuff. one of my favourite parts of the weekend, the camaraderie and the champagne spraying on the podium. It's always so much fun between all of these drivers. And now we'll get the Goodyear Cup presentation as well. And you can see the drivers having a chat behind the scenes, all discussing their race from their own points of view. Of course, each driver has a very different outlook on what happens in every single race. But they've all thoroughly enjoyed themselves here at Autodrom Most. I'm sure that's Theo Calvé waiting to go up on the podium once again for the Goodyear Cup. And now the announcer will call them up to the podium. And for the second time this weekend, Jochen Hahn, a Goodyear Cup podium. Fantastic stuff. Definitely one to watch for the future is Jochen Hahn. With his father's guidance, he could go very far indeed. Theo Calvé rounds out an amazing weekend with second place in the Goodyear Cup. After multiple podium appearances, he can be really pleased with that one. But bringing the fight to him is the Brit, Shane Breton. Great overall podium in that race, much like Theo managed earlier in the weekend. And the CEO of Autodrom Most will now hand out the trophies. Lucas receives his trophy as second of the weekend. I imagine the Hahns already have a very large trophy cabinet that one is going to go in. Theo Calvé also needs a large trophy cabinet. There go the arms again, up in the air. And your Goodyear Cup winner for round 8, Shane Breton. And now we'll have the national anthem of Great Britain.
Photos with Goodyear caps and trophies, please. And time for champagne.
And now the branded picture's done. Time for champagne. Who's going to get there first? Theo Calvé's already sort of stepping away slightly, knowing what may be about to come his way. But I think he might get there first. Oh, it was almost a dead heat. Jochen Hahn sprays the champagne indeed. He's going to have to get good at doing that. Absolutely soaks everybody and our cameraman and Theo Calvé. Brilliant fun as ever. And trust me, as much as you do joke about it, champagne does half sting when it goes in your eyes. But that will round out our podium presentation here. And some very, very happy drivers. But with Antonio Albacete, we have Christina.
Yes, and he left his trophy over there and the bottle of champagne. What a risky situation. No, I'm just kidding. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you happy with the result?
Yeah, sure. We are very happy for the whole team, because we are coming slowly, but we are coming, so I hope that we have more podiums like this one. But yeah, it was a little bit difficult at the start, I was in the outside in the second corner, but I keep the pace, I managed to keep the pace. And since then I try to go as fast as I can, but I was not able to pull away from the other ones, and then I saw Sacha just behind, you know, and he have much speed than me. So it was nothing I can do. It was a silly thing to keep closing the place, you know. So I prefer to follow him and try to be away of the other ones. So yeah, we are happy for the result. So as I said, I hope that we are going further with the track, you know, and we can have more podiums like this.
Yes. He said that he was looking if you could make just a little mistake, and then he used the situation, Sascha Lenz. What was it for a fight? You already described it a bit.
Sorry, what?
What was the fight between you and Sascha Lenz?
Well, I mean, with Len it was not much fight, you know, because I knew that he was faster, so I just let him pass. I didn't want to make any fight, you know, because I knew that if we make a mistake or something happen, the other ones will come. So I preferred to follow him and pull it away. And it was just a little bit of risk in the first corner. I have the outside, and I have a little bit of push, but I was able to keep the track, not to go to the gravel, and I was lucky in that point, and since then I just tried to pull away, but it was not possible.
Talking about the gravel, I mean, you're an experienced driver, and this weekend it was epic, as Norbert Kirsch was saying during the qualifying. You had sun and rain. How would you resume this weekend? Have you seen something like this before?
Well, I mean, yesterday was difficult because, as you said, it was raining, then it was drying. Sometimes it was not dry enough, but it's not wet enough. And sometimes the surface of the track was like ice, you know. So it was very difficult to do something with the track. I mean, you do something for the wet and then it changed, and then you do something for the dry and then it changed. So we were a little bit loose. I mean, this weekend, I think not only us, a lot of teams and a lot of drivers are being a little bit loose with the settings, and that's why it makes it a little bit difficult, you know.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
And he's an experienced driver, and we've got the race by race entrant, Lucas Hahn. Congratulations. Finishing on podium on Sunday. And the whole family and team was cheering in front of you. What does that mean to you?
It mean a lot for me and my family and all the members around us and everybody and the sponsors also. Yesterday it was my first day, my first race day in this year, and it was a learning day for me. And today it was a lot of better. Now we finished 2 times at third place, and that's really nice, and we are happy.
Yes. The thing is with the family name, so this is why I'm just asking, because there's a little tear maybe in the eye because your father couldn't make it to the end, and he said he got just a slightly little problem on his truck. Is that, what do you say about that?
Yeah, that's racing. You build a truck and you hope everything is hold the complete race, and sometimes you have problems, you can't handle it, but in the end, it's not only one race weekend. There are 8 or 10 race weekends, and you have a long time, but that's not a good end of the weekend. Yeah.
But surely you are catched with truck racing, of course. What are your aims for this season? Where we see you back and maybe on track?
I don't think that I'm on track again this year, but maybe next year I will be 2 or 3 times back on track, and we will see. We will make it step by step and go make more Erfahrung, more experience every time, and then maybe I'm a full member of the FIA ETRC.
Thank you very much. We hope to see you soon. This was it, the race weekend here at the Autodrome in Most. And if there's no one around, I can take my mask off for this final words from me right now. Yeah, I was not sure what to use as well, the raincoat or put sunscreen on. It was how he was saying as well, it made it difficult for the teams this weekend, the weather conditions, to find the right setup. But we saw a lot of good races. We saw a lot of good competition. Home team was really successful as well. Calvé taking over the lead in the Goodyear Cup, for example. So I think everybody will now having a good time in the paddock, and I hope you had a good time watching us live on YouTube or Facebook. And we hope to see you soon and the next time. So huge thank you for the team, and a warm goodbye from us.
So this is how the final race of the weekend unfolded then. The field led away by Antonio Albacete, a fantastic character, isn't he? With so much wealth and experience behind him. He's driven all sorts of touring cars, GT cars. He's driven everything, and he's obviously won the ETRC multiple times as well. But the field, once again, nailing it off the start. Shane Breton just trying to hold on at the very start, but Antonio Albacete held strong, and Shane Breton would drop behind a couple of the drivers trying to fight with him. Sasha Lenz able to get past Teo Calve. Everybody eventually finding their own space on track in the opening laps somehow. Tyres squealing aplenty, but the humongous 100-mile-an-hour convoy made its way around Autodrom Most in the greatest of style. Trucks once again, as always, with bits and bobs hanging off and falling off them. Just testament to the close racing. Stefan Farsen had a lot of work on his hands throughout the race, trying to hold off Jamie Anderson and René Reiner in the midfield. But Sasha Lenz would eventually get past Shane Breton into turn 1, and only a couple of laps later would do the same to Antonio Albacete, pulling the exact same move. Norbert Kish chased down Adam Lachko as long as he could, but wasn't able to get through, and Teo Calve, well, he had a bit of a lonely race on his own, really, managing to get second place once again in the Goodyear Cup. More silverware for him. Jamie Anderson continued his pursuit of Stefan Farsen lap after lap. Stefan really doing a good job at soaking up the pressure while Jamie tested out the track limits. But the move would eventually come down the inside into the final corner, which would set Jamie up to go through down the straight. René Reiner choosing to take the slipstream off the number 33 truck as they piled their way down to turn 1. It wasn't without a bit of contact though, Stefan Farsen making sure that Jamie knew he was still there. But in the end, the Anderson Racing truck would go through and go on to finish in 9th position after gaining even more places. René Reiner will certainly try his luck though, but Stefan Farsen would be having none of it. A lot of the field, such as Janiek, Lucas Hahn and Anderson, all sort of holding their positions in the last couple of laps. Andre Kursim would drop behind Anderson though, as he came through, piling into the top 10. A little lock-up late on in the race for Shane Breton would drop him back into the clutches of Adam Lachko and Norbert Kish, who just didn't seem to have the forward momentum that we'd seen in other races over the course of the weekend and the championship. Drivers keeping each other on their toes further down the order as well. The likes of Luke Garrett chasing down Alia Kolok and Heinrich Clemens Hecker. But the chase was definitely on for second place. Antonio Albacete was not out of the woods at any point. But it was Sasha Lenz that would eventually go on to take the win after Anderson had overtaken Kurzim in the dying moments of the race. And Sasha Lenz would begin the drifting celebrations that we oh so often see in this championship. Incredible vehicle control on display, and his second win of the season with the horn sounding across the line. Good points for Albacete and Breton and Lachko, all finishing ahead of Norbert Kish in 5th position. And Sasha Lenz happy to ruin those rear tyres now that his and the truck's work for the weekend was done. And I'm hoping we get to see that sideways Adam Lachko moment again. And here it will be. Look in the background, the white and blue Freightliner coming into shot now. A wonderful, wonderful drift by Adam Lachko, showing off in front of his home crowd. Not just his, of course, but Goodyear Racing's home crowd as well. They've had a really strong weekend with a lot of points finishes, and it keeps their championship fight alive. But so it does for these guys as well. Sasha Lenz, Antonio Albacete and Shane Breton, a very well-deserved podium, and a very well-celebrated one at that. More silverware to fill up the trophy cabinets for some very well-deserved drivers and their little helpers too. And an absolute soaking of champagne to go with it. Very well-deserved for each of our drivers that got to taste the champagne this weekend. But now, as we head out of the Czech Republic, We look at the overall standings. Norbert Kisch has the championship lead, 84 points to the 81 of Sascha Lenz. Adam Lachko is third on 69, 20 points clear of Antonio Albacete. Jochen Hahn comes away in fifth place, just 2 points ahead of fellow Iveco driver Steffi Halm. Theo Calve is seventh ahead of Shane Breton. Anthony Janiak is ninth, and Andrei Kurzim rounds out the top 10 in the championship. And we head back to Christina for the final time. But for now, my name is Chaz Draycott. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll leave the final words to Christina.
Yes, the cleaning machine is on the circuit right now. This was the second round of the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Second round, and what is left? 2 bottles of champagne empty. See you soon.